Walz's home state joins California in ignoring Trump's executive order to ban transgenders from girls' sports. Please subscribe to our Z News for more updates. The Minnesota State High School League announced Thursday it will continue to allow transgender athletes to compete against girls despite President Donald Trump's executive order to ban them from doing so. Trump on Wednesday signed the No Men in Women's Sports Executive Order, fulfilling one of his major campaign promises of keeping biological men out of girls' and women's sports. The Minnesota organization said in an email to member schools that participation by and eligibility of transgender athletes is controlled by the Minnesota Human Rights Act, which includes protections for LGBTQ people, and the Minnesota Constitution. The Minnesota State High School League, similar to other youth sports organizations, is subject to state anti-discrimination laws, which prohibit discrimination based on gender identity, the organization said in a statement. Therefore, students in Minnesota are allowed to participate consistent with their gender identity. Minnesota joins California in ignoring Trump's executive order. The state is governed by Tim Walz, who was Kamala Harris' running mate for the 2024 election. The Democrats won the state. The state was home to a Supreme Court case where a transgender powerlifter was continuing the fight to compete against biological women. Trump signed the executive order on National Girls and Women in Sports Day, which celebrates female athletes in women's sports and those committed to providing equal access to sports for all females. Prior to Trump signing the order Wednesday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said part of the motivation behind Trump's executive order would be to create a pressure campaign for the International Olympic Committee (IOC) and NCAA to follow and prevent transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. In response to Trump's order, the NCAA changed its policy, in place since 2010, to disallow transgender athletes from competing against women, requiring them to compete based on their birth gender. During Trump's ceremony at the White House to sign the executive order, he announced that Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem will prohibit any transgender athletes attempting to compete as women from entering the country for the Olympics in 2028. The United Nations released study findings saying nearly 900 biological females have fallen short of winning medals because they lost to transgender athletes. The study, Violence Against Women and Girls in Sports, said more than 600 athletes did not medal in more than 400 competitions in 29 different sports, totaling over 890 medals, according to information obtained up to March 30th.